Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Kusumasari K, Darmayanti, and I am a lecturer at the Department of Islamic Psychology, Faculty of Psychology, Islamic State University of Raden Fatah, Palembang, which is located at Palembang City, province of South Sumatra. I will present our paper with the title Cognitive Strategy Use and Sex Differences among senior high school students. This paper work by our team. The first one is Mrs. Veronica Kristiyani. She is a lecturer at the Department of Psychology, Faculty of Psychology at Unggul University, which is located at Jakarta, Indonesia. And then Mr. Efan Yudha Winata, he is a lecturer at the Department of Psychology, Faculty of Psychology and Humanity, Sumbawa University of Technology. And then the last one is Mrs. Erlina Anggraini. She is a student at the Northeast China China University at China. And then before we doing our paper or our research, we study about the literature review, and then phenomena, which is the background of our research. And COVID-19 and education. As we know, the COVID had impact on our education, especially after the COVID-19 declared as the endemic. It had impact on our education as our government make such as a policy about the education that is about how to facilitate our education by hybrid learning. As we know that hybrid learning is doing the learning process through both of face-to-face or offline learning and online learning or distance learning. The presentation is very variation. It's dependent on the institution and many more. As we know at our institution, it is applied 70% for doing face-to-face learning and then the remaining for the distance learning or online learning. It has very positive impact, especially on its flexibility. As we know that students and teacher can access the learning process very flexible. It is when we can find on synchronous and asynchronous learning. Yes, when we discuss about it, we can access the material or giving the material through the e-learning or something like a platform, online platform, and also we can use Google, utilize the Google Classroom and some application that developed by the institution. Or we can also access the material on the flexible time and places. So junior high school can access this material very flexible. They can something like focus on the time, on the place, and on the speedy to understanding or to study the material. But this policy have also its challenges or barrier. The first one is the poor connection. As we know that poor connection is not implicating for whom we are. It's very, very, very egalitarian. It's very equal. Everyone can impact on the poor connection. So this poor connection is impacted on the both of synchronous and asynchronous learning. How to access learning process through the Zoom meeting, Google meeting, or WhatsApp group, or maybe e-learning platform. And then the second one is the teacher's readiness. Many teachers don't still aren't ready yet about this kind of learning system. And some of them, I think, don't have PCs, devices, or maybe laptop. It's still our weakness here, especially on their skill to access this learning process through the devices using the internet connection. We still know the internet connection is also related with the finance. So in our country, it still exists the financial issues. Okay, the third is overwhelming. When students or especially student of junior high school, I think that they have also other activities instead of learning. Maybe they helping their parents, help their father, their mothers and their siblings, and also doing more activities related with their peers or their self. And also they also have to finish the assignment, finish the reading material, access learning, and many more. It becomes so overwhelming for the student. And in one research, this learning process also impact on the students' psychological issues, something like depression and anxiety and many more. So what is the solution of this problem? As Hidayah and Magis said that students should operate, they regulate cognitive processes. Cognitive processes is about how students control their cognitive process. What is the cognitive strategy that making they easier to understand the material? It is the purpose. Something like, is it okay if they doing summarizing or memorizing or something like mind mapping? Now, this strategy especially can make they understand the material easily. Just the way. Simply, student should decide what is the strategy, what is the best way to understand their material. Yeah. It is called with the cognitive strategy use. And then the background of this theory is a Pinterest 1993. He said about the cognitive strategy, it is about the student-reported use of basic and complex strategies for the processing of information from text and lectures. Simply, Pinterest said that cognitive strategies, or CSU, is about how students can access the material and understanding the material with their best way. This material, it is accessed through their teacher's explanation, or from the text, or from the YouTube channel, and many more. So this CSU is categorized through three parts. The first one is rehearsal strategy. Rehearsal strategy, it's about how students making repetition of one word or one sentence or phrase. So from this process, they can memorizing something like the definition of CSU. use of basic and complex strategy for the processing of information from text and lecturers. So the student should repeating this word or this sentence many more, and then they can memorize the definition of CSU. And then the second one is elaboration strategy. Elaboration strategy used by student, how student can understand the material and they explain or they expressing their understanding by their words. It can be found through how a student made something like summarize or paraphrase. So student using their word to understanding what the material. And then the last one is organizational strategy. It is categorize the learning material we can find on making mind mapping and many more. About previous finding, there are some of research, the study about the cognitive strategy used and sex differences among the students. There is 3 research that done on 2018. The 3 of this research found that there is differences of CSU on girls and boys students. So this current study is to find if there are any differences of cognitive strategy used on junior high school girls and boys. And then on doing research, we use quantitative research for gaining the data of the research. We use motivated strategies for learning questionnaire or MSLQ, and then CSU is one part of subscale on MSLQ. So because this research is done by the questionnaire, we gain the data, we get the data through the questionnaire. So Cosby, Marr, and Round say that this is kind of the survey research. And CSU content of 13 items, which is 4-point Likert scale. This CSU is categorized as valid and reliable. And then for doing the research, we also consider about the research ethic, in which we use informed consent to asking the participant of our participants. Our participant is 128, and to gaining the participant or to find the participant, we use half-answer sampling. And then after we get the data, we use for testing, statistical testing using Jamovi version 2.3. The first one is reliability and validity testing. The second one is normality testing, and then descriptive and correlational testing. And then the last one, we're using independent t-test, independent sample t-test to find the differences of CSU on girls and boys junior high school students. Surprisingly, the finding of the research is the data is found to be normal. We can use this from the visual object. It is symmetrical, and then also there is a significant differentiation of CSU on girls and boys students. We can know about the p-value, and then the p-value score is under the 0.05. It indicated that the independent sample test is found to be significant. Now we can see the differentiation of CSU on girls and boys student on this graph. And then about the discussion, it found that girls found more frequently to use CSU than boys. It indicates that girls more frequently in using rehearsal strategies like memorizing the material, elaboration strategy, or making a summarizing of the material, and organizational strategy, or making outlining the material, or using mind mapping to understanding the material. This research is in line with the Ali Fernini et al. And Zhang. Zhang found that girls use CSU and metacognition, while boys only use metacognition in reading comprehension. And then Franks also found that girls often using their left hemisphere, hippocampus, then it is impact on they more seen in their verbal skill, while male using more use in their right hippocampus, and it's impacted on how boys student found to be higher in their nonverbal system. Also, syndrome found that girls preferentially use landmark cues and boys both landmark and geometric information. And also, this research have its limitation and implication. This research is a study about the hybrid learning process after the COVID-19 declared as the endemic. So we can compare with the cognitive strategy used through the hybrid learning in this current situation, because people is adapted to the situation. And then the second one, limited participant. So we can gaining more participant. And the last one is this research is done with the junior high school student. Well, when we review of the research or review the article journal, we can find the term of learning loss. And learning loss is happen in elementary school student and senior high school student and also university students. So we can find the differentiated of cognitive strategy use among them. And then the last one is we use cognitive strategy use in globally. Maybe in a further research we can making something like categorize of cognitive strategy use. So we can find how boys and girls students differentiate on their rehearsal strategy, elaboration strategy, and organizational strategy. And then the implication of the research is educational psychologists, school psychologists, teachers, parents, and other school part should pay attention how to increasing boys student of CSU, how to increasing CSU of the boys student. And the point to making module or educational intervention or psychological intervention is depend on the rehearsal strategy, elaborational strategy, and organizational strategy. So if the voice student CSU can increase, it also impact on their academic performance, and then it also impact on their academic successful. Okay, thank you. That is for us. And then from the closing statement, we like to cite this quote. Humans create their cognitive powers by creating the environment in which they exercise this power. This is imply that how to increase in our cognitive power is by creating environment cognition. What is environment cognition? This is the situation in which people can share their idea, can fulfilling the cognition each other. Maybe it's through discussion, it's through maybe doing some activities that related to increasing their cognitive activity or information processing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This is for me and my team. I do realize that I have a lot of mistake in presenting our paper, and akhirul kalam, billahi taufik wal hidayah, waridhawanilnayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.